Excuse me, sir, but you look like a terrorist. Hi, I'm Trey, and I'm here to tell you something that's gonna blow your mind. Do you happen to know what the writ of habeas corpus is? No? That's okay, because most Americans don't. The writ of habeas corpus is a big thing that's been put into our Constitution back when Abraham Lincoln was a president. I'll get to it in a little bit. I'm going to talk about what this bill is, how the government can do this, and what we should do to make a stand against this bill. Now, back to habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is the right for a person to get a fair trial of an accused crime in the court of law. This bill, proposed by our government, actually suspends habeas corpus to anyone who's deemed as a suspected terrorist. Now, you think, what does that mean? Well, there are 63 criterion that the government uses to deem people as a terrorist. Some are what you would say ridiculous, for lack of a better word. For example, I have a friend who's missing his index finger on his left hand. If any government official saw this, he could be deemed as a terrorist, thrown into prison without a fair trial in court for the rest of his life. Or until the government says, until terror is relieved of the country. I'm going to be safe bet and say that that's never going to happen, but that's just me. The next is having a large amount of food in a household. Now, I come from a big family of 8, of course. We have a lot of food in our house. The government says if any person stores 7 or more days of food in their house, they are deemed a terrorist. You have got to be kidding me, right? I'm not kidding. Now, you ask, how can they do this? Well, terrorism has been a big thing for our government. And anyone who is a suspected terrorist can be thrown into prison, like the law has proposed, according to Olbermann of 2012. And are possible harm to our country going to come from this? Well, of course. People, once they find out about this bill, are going to be upset because they're normal, everyday people with missing fingers, with lots of food in their households. These are just some common things that are becoming blown out of proportion by our government as suspected terrorists. Now, I understand that this is a big deal, but this is blowing the fish out of the water. Seriously. Now, you ask, well, what can a simple person like me do? That's a great question. The first and foremost thing that I can think of is to write your state senator or state congressman, some government official, and tell them how you feel. Because this is the best way to get to D.C. and the big Senate, House of Representatives, even the President of the United States. This is the way that we can express ourselves through government officials to tell the way we actually feel. And then, of course, next is take action. If you don't feel right about this bill, which, of course, I don't as well, tell somebody. Tell a friend. Tell a family member. Tell your great-aunt Heidi second removed. Tell anybody that you possibly can. Make this bill become known. Just like the Coney campaign in 2012, once people found out, it started spreading globally. It spread all over the world. That's what we need to do in this case, except just in the United States. We need to make the U.S. citizens aware that they could possibly be a terrorist just by missing a finger. So I told you kind of what this bill does, what's in it, how the government can actually do this, and what we can do. Now, as my history professor of government says, what's your take in action? What are you going to do to allow the government to tell everyone that they're a terrorist, even though you're not?